Welcome to Meet Me in the City, a podcast exploring music through the boroughs of America. Today, we are joined by someone who is involved in the music scene, has been involved in the music scene, is a director of music at WYSO, has her own podcast, and as far as we know, has been around the music scene for a long, long time, and we're just really excited to talk to Juliet Fromholt. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
This is exciting.
We're glad to have you. I think that you probably, as you follow along with our guests, you're going to be as familiar with maybe anybody as anybody, and know kind of what's going on there. So we're excited to talk to you. Normally, we just kind of do a little bio. Where are you from? Early music. I mean, Dan loves to ask the question on. You ask it.
Your first album? Do you remember the first album that you?
Oh, I mean, that's such a loaded question for me because I grew up in a house of music.
Oh, did you?
Okay. So to set the scene a little bit, what you need to know is that I'm from Dayton, Ohio. My dad grew up here, but my mom is from New Orleans.
Okay.
So I grew up with New Orleans culture and New Orleans music in my house my whole life. Technically, my first album is Donovan's Songs for Little Ones because my parents bought that for me before I was born.
Oh,
I have no memory. I still have the album, but I have no memory of the first time I heard it.
That's the first, I think. I don't think I've heard of parents buying an album for their kids before the kid was born.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So they were deep into it.
My
then
parents
as well.
are deep into music.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah. So I grew up listening to music. I've often said I'm very lucky. Most kids that I went to school with in middle school and high school, I would say oh man, I forgot to bring, I meant to bring my Beck CD, but my dad took it. And they're like, your dad took away your Beck CD. I'm like, no, my dad took it because he likes it. And I really want it back, but he's damning on it, So, I grew up listening to music with my parents, listening to records, going to concerts with my parents, too.
Okay.
So, the first time I went to Jilly's, the first time I went to Canal Street Tavern, the first time I went to Riverbend Music Center, that was all with my family.
Wow.
So,
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, early music for me...
For you personally, you picked out, you went to the store and you're like, this is what I want to get.
I bought.
Yeah. My first one was Survivor, Vital Signs. It was the very first one I ever spent my hard-earned cash on.
Yeah, let's see. The first one I actually spent my own money on, that is... Oh gosh, this is going to be really hard. Because people would often buy me music. An early one that I can remember buying with my own money would have been Tori Amos's Little Earthquakes cassette.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good album.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, lots of cassettes, lots of singles,
Yep.
CDs that my parents would bring home from the shop, and I would go shopping with them. But that one I distinctly remember buying for myself.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so you said from the shop, just record store in general, or...
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I can remember going with my parents, to Gem City Music back in the day.
Okay.
I mean, I eventually got a job at CD Connection because my
Nice.
parents and I were in there a lot.
Which location? Because there was 5 or
7.
7.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah. Kettering store was
Kettering
my store.
store.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Mhm.
Where
So-
was that? I remember...
Wood Lane Plaza. It was in
Oh,
the shopping
wow.
center across the street from Wood Lane Plaza when they first opened. But when I worked there, it was in Wood Lane Plaza, where Poochie Bath is now, and then it moved down where the train shop is now. I only know this because my partner still runs a store in Wood Lane Plaza,
Oh,
so
cool.
the plaza is in the family still.
All right.
Nice.
So
That's
did
funny.
you go to high school? Where did you go to high school?
I went to Alter.
Okay.
You went to
Nice.
Alter,
Yeah.
which is a Catholic school.
Yes.
Catholic high school
Yeah.
in Dayton.
Right.
So did you grow up in Kettering?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
What year... Do you mind me asking what year
No,
you
that's
graduated?
fine. 2002
Okay.
from high school. Yeah.
Dan's over
okay,
here.
Dan?
Dan's throwing out records from the early 80s. Like anybody knows what it is.
Yeah. Jeez. I'd been married 7 years when we graduated
It's
high
all
school.
good.
So that's
I
good.
mean, I'm having that experience now with younger folks in the music scene who I so admire, but getting to spend time with them, I have to keep saying no, wait, how old are you? Do you know this? You know, like trying not to be insulting, but now feeling like the older person in the room.
Yeah, I asked because I went to Fairmont, so I wondered if we were like rivals at the same time. But I'm not as old as Dan, but a little older.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
So CD connection. I mean, you're getting right into the music. Is that high school? You get that job? Probably?
Yeah, it was my first job.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I'm so jealous of people
I
who worked at a
know.
record
I
store.
always wanted to work at a record store.
I don't even need to be like the obnoxious guy like Jack Black in High Fidelity.
Right.
It would just be cool to see the music come through and buy and sell. And how long did you work there?
8 years.
8 years.
Yeah.
Boy, you commit when you're into something,
I did,
man.
Yeah, yeah. I lock in.
Yeah.
Yeah, high school and all through college. And
Okay.
then I left a little after college when I decided I should probably find a grown-up job. And the music industry was changing so much. That was, you know, I graduated college into the recession. I'm at that, beautiful age of, like, people who, like, 9/11 happened to right as they were graduating high school and then graduated college into a recession, like, hello, messed up millennials.
Yeah. So you went to Wright State, correct?
I did, yeah.
What did you major in?
I had like 5 majors.
Nice.
You're not living right unless you have at least 2 or 3.
Oh, yeah. I switched it up a few times. I started as a film major, which ties into the podcast I do now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I started as a film major, bopped around a few times. My degree is in classical humanities, but I fell in love with radio while I was in college. So really, that was kind of my focus. And I was going to switch to communications, but I was so far into my degree at that point. And at that point, communications majors were primarily focused on television. And they were like, okay, so I was talking to somebody in the department. They're like, so do you want to do television? I said, no. Like, you're sure you don't want to do television? No, I want to do radio. Okay, but you know, like, radio is dying. And I'm like, I don't think it is, but that's what I want to do. And they're like, all right, you're running our station at Wright State. You're volunteering at WISO, and you're working part-time at a commercial station. We have nothing here for you.
Oh, my God.
They're like, just finish your degree. You're learning more than we could teach you.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's worked out.
Really
well for you.
I feel confident in that decision.
Yeah, exactly.
And we'll get into that too, but I want to go back because this is so awesome. I think that your parents took you to shows, which my parents did not. But Canal Street? You know, you're going with your parents to Canal Street, which is super cool, and other venues in the area. Like, what type of music were they? I know you mentioned New Orleans, but what other styles? Like, why would you go to Canal Street with them? Like, what were they going to see?
So, Canal Street specifically, my family would go to see Beau Soleil, which is a Louisiana, sort of a Cajun string band. I was going to make a joke about an accordion or something, but that probably wasn't in
yeah,
absolutely.
Yes. Oh, okay. All right,
good.
Well,
accordion, fiddles. Yes.
I'll hold the accordion joke for later, then.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, I think anytime an artist like that from, like, with that Louisiana sound would come here, we would make a point to go see it.
Oh, that's crazy.
But we would also, like, go see jazz and rock and roll. My parents, you might not know this about me, though I feel like everybody knows about me. I am, like, the biggest Fleetwood Mac mega fan on earth.
Wow.
So, like, they took me to see Stevie Nicks
man.
on the Enchanted tour when I graduated 8th grade. That was my present.
Wow.
But they also my dad took me to the first year of Edge Fest, before it was X Fest, when it was cool.
Hold on. So what year was that?
96.
Is that 96? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And so I'm trying to think who played it, because I have the CD. Poe. Guided by Voices.
Yeah, I went 96, 97, 98. I know Veruca Salt was 97, because that was amazing. That blew my mind.
I was a big fan of
Veruca. Yeah. Who else?
I'm trying to think of the CD now.
Maybe Matthew Sweet one year?
He's not on this 96 CD. That doesn't
okay.
That would have been amazing.
Cars Flowers, which is Maroon 5 before they were Maroon 5. They were there.
Someone's at my house, so
no.
everybody knows. Keep going.
Yeah, so Cars Flowers, which is Maroon 5 before they were Maroon 5.
Oh, that's fascinating.
Yeah, most people don't know that. Who else? I would have to look at the CD.
That's awesome.
There's a couple of other college rock bands that played that had like one off.
Yeah.
King's Choice, maybe.
They were there
Yeah.
2 years. Yes,
Okay.
they were great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Dayton, I mean, we've had some really cool things happen around this area.
Yeah.
Which is awesome, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, that you were able to see a wide variety of music in this area.
In a town this size.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So X Fest was 103.9 was the. Was it 103.9?
It was 103.9. Yeah. So that time is so interesting. I'm really into radio history because I am. So when they were the Edge, they were either independent or owned by a smaller company when they first started. When they were really cool, like that first year when they were awesome. They changed to the X right after 1996 because that's when the whole Federal Communications Act of 1996 happened, which screwed up everything for everybody and created the behemoth that is now iHeartMedia.
Okay.
So that basically, that ruling allowed these giant companies to buy up huge groups of stations all around the country.
Wow.
There used to be like some pretty stringent limits, and that's why we had iHeartMedia owning like 900 stations, and a lot of local stations got gobbled up and went away during that period. You know, that's when we started to see threats to stations like Waxy, other, you know, beloved local stations. They were a part of this whole deal and dismantling, and that's why by the time I got to college, people were saying radio is dying. Because it was highly commercialized, highly, you know, recorded, and we still have some of that, but it's changing a lot, and like indie radio is kind of bouncing back in a big exciting way, I think.
So say more about that. That sounds interesting.
I think people are starting to realize the value of like community radio.
Okay.
Whether it's a public radio station like WYSO or just like an independently owned low power FM. The FCC a few years ago opened up more low power FM licenses. So that's how we have stations like WSWO in Huber Heights, the oldie station. That's just a little indie station run by community members. There are a lot of communities around the country that have these really, really small, awesome, like almost neighborhood stations that serve a hyper local need. And so like people are seeing the value in that once again, which is really, really exciting.
That is exciting because I mean, when we were growing up, you know, it was the future of rock and roll.
Nice.
Yeah.
9 and 7 extras, and then you know even NKU was a great way to hear.
New stuff
coming out, and that's why YSO really fills that gap in this area, and that's how that's how you find out about anything new and upcoming coming through. And that's what I really enjoy about it.
Yeah, well, and it's interesting. I live in Piqua, which is like 30. For those of you listening not familiar with Dayton, it's like 30 minutes north of Dayton. We have a radio, like a Piqua radio station. That is, funded by advertising, and they're not on air live 24/7, but they are during the day. They got morning shows, and I went and I met the guy who runs it, and I thought to myself, this was probably 5-6 years ago when I was on there. I thought, man, how are they doing this? But it's good to hear you sort of championing the idea that local, like almost hyper local, I think is the word you used. Radio is still happening, is still a thing. Because it's likely that the people who are doing those shows and running the stations are people who live in the community.
Absolutely.
Even better.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
See, and we didn't even know we were going to get into this. But it's great. There it is. Good. It's really interesting, especially coming out of the 90s when, all of us, I wonder now, as you mentioned some of this, I look back at a lot of those, not one-hit wonders, but some of the underground college radio stuff that was bubbling up. I'm like, how did I even know about these bands? Yeah. But it makes sense because we had radio around that was still playing that stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you had the ability back then, it was a little more common, though things were starting to change, that DJs could pick their own music. Now, unless you're at a station like YSO, and even at some like public radio stations, the DJs don't get to pick their own stuff. I attended a talk from the head of programming at iHeartMedia, and it was at OU at the Ohio Music Industry Summit, which is a really cool event, by the way, a yearly event that they put on mainly for students, but it's open to anybody for free. We went last year and we sat in on this talk from a head of programming at iHeartMedia, and a student asked him, like, so, you know, I'm an aspiring musician and I want to get my music on the air. You know, should I reach out to DJs? Like, how often do DJs get to pick their own music without skipping a beat? He said, never. They never. And I was aghast. It made me so sad because, like, that's part of the joy of what I do.
Yeah.
You know?
That would be the only reason I'd want to be a DJ.
I know.
Yeah.
Not the only, but
pretty close.
Yeah.
I mean, play what you like.
Yeah, you're like, check this out. You never heard this?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
You know?
Tell us about your time at Wright State. What did that look like, your time on the radio at Wright State? And then how it led into everything else.
Sure. I fell into it by accident. I started college my first year with my best friend from high school. We were there together. She was doing her gen eds in the hopes of going to art school for video game design, and she got into the school she wanted to.
Oh, that's crazy. That seems like
Yeah.
it's a thing now, but it didn't. I never knew people who were into it.
She is still in the industry. Like,
that's cool.
She works for Ubisoft. So, like, she followed her dream. I'm like, I always have to say, like, I am so proud of her. Like,
That's awesome.
You know, she's amazing.
Cool.
So we started college together, and then she was like, okay, well, I got into art school. I'm moving, you know, and I was like, great. I'm so happy for you. You know, we got her ready to move. And then I'm like on campus and I'm like, I have no friends. Like, whoops. I forgot to, like, oh yeah, that's the thing you're supposed to do in college. You're supposed to, like, make friends or something. I guess I should, like, meet people and do stuff on campus, I guess. And there was a sign up in the student union like, hey, want to be a DJ? And I was like, well, that sounds kind of fun. I'm working at a record store.
Yeah.
I love music. I forgot, my mother reminded me that after I got involved at the station, that I used to play radio station in my basement as a kid.
Oh, man.
Who didn't? The old pause tapes.
Yeah. So went in there. It was like, what do I do? You know, and I was like, I'm not a communications major. And they're like, that's fine. You don't have to be, you know. So I learned and I shadowed and I started doing a show. And very quickly, as the school year was rolling around, they were hiring student staff members for the next year.
Okay.
And I had several people tell me, like, you should apply. And I was like, well, I'm not a communications major and I'm brand new at this. And they're like, no, but you're good at it. I was like, I don't know. I'm like, no, really, you should apply. I said, okay, I'll apply. And I got a staff position as the assistant program director.
Oh, wow.
And then just, like, fell in love with it, was assistant program director, ended up staying in college an extra year to be the general manager because they were renovating the student union at the time.
Okay.
So they had, like, moved the radio station into this tiny little space. All right, any old school music people here? If anybody remembers the Rathskeller at Wright State, okay, there was a lounge in front of it with a fireplace. Mm-hmm. They plunked the radio station there temporarily.
Really?
Not ideal for broadcast.
Wow.
Not good.
Jeez.
While they fixed our space. And so, I was gonna train the next program director fall semester and then graduate. And I got a call over the summer and they're like, so the person who was going to be general manager dropped out of school and you're the only one who knows enough about, like, the renovations and all of that. Would you want to stay in school an extra year and be general manager? And I was like, well, I have no plans after graduation, so why not? Sure, cool.
Let me think about it. Yes.
Yeah, I was like, great, good. I'll just delay the inevitable a little longer.
So, I mean, did you think of it, though, as an opportunity to gain experience, resume? I mean, it sounds like a pretty good title to have on your resume if you aspire to be in radio.
Totally. And I did. I was already, at that point, I was doing like 1,000 things. So still working at CD Connection. I had started working at Jilly's during college.
And before we started recording, you told us, how long did you work at Jilly's?
13 years.
Which is why I said you stick with stuff once you get into it.
I do. Yeah.
Jilly's is a bar, no longer exists, but it was a bar in downtown Dayton.
For a long time.
For a long
41 years.
Mostly a jazz club, though, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was there until the very end.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but let's see. I was working at CD Connection. I was working at Jilly's. At some point in there, I very briefly worked part-time at a commercial station, like long enough to know that was not what I wanted to do with my life.
Where they picked the playlist for you?
Yeah, well, I wasn't even doing that. I was board opping at that point,
Okay.
and it was a sports station, and I was the only woman, and so I got stuck with like the West Coast baseball that went till 4 a.m. Like push a button once an hour.
It's hard enough to watch baseball on the Eastern Coast at 4 in the afternoon, much less 4 a.m.
Yeah, that was. I'm glad I did it because I know for sure that I never want to do that again. That's valuable experience. Yeah, and somewhere along the line, right in there, I had started volunteering at WYSO. So I knew like radio was what I wanted to do. I didn't know how I was going to do it. There weren't a lot of jobs in radio at that time.
I mean, still kind of that way, isn't
it? Yeah, for the most part. I also was like very stubborn. I was like, I want to work for a station that has music and that is independent, and so that narrows your playing field quite a bit. But yeah, being at Wright State Station was amazing. Like, it's where all of the like nerdy music kids hung out. So I had like friends to go to shows with. The kind of funny thing was a lot of my the friends that I made at the station were not from Dayton, or definitely like did not grow up like I did. And they lived on campus. So I was the one hauling everybody downtown to go to the shows. They would be like, oh, we've got this party at the dorms. And I'm like, yeah, but we could go to like Elbows or Night Owl or Canal Street and like, hear some music. Yeah. So I was bringing a lot of people downtown because I lived downtown. I didn't live on campus. Yeah, I lived right in the Dayton Towers, right on the edge of the Oregon district. So I was like, yeah, like come downtown, come hang out. Let's go to shows, that kind of a thing. So that was amazing. And I also, at that time, got to go to CMJ for a few years.
Oh, wow.
So, like, for those that don't know, CMJ was the College Music Journal, a trade publication that had this festival every year called CMJ Music Marathon. At one point, they thought it was going to be like South by Southwest, but in New York City, which I think is, like, infinitely cool. But it folded, alas. It was a casualty of the recession, among other things, and changing media landscapes. But what it was is like in the fall every year, hundreds of college radio people and label reps and musicians and some filmmakers too would descend upon New York City. You'd have a conference during the day with amazing keynote speakers. Like when I was there, this was Air America time. So like Al Franken, like in the height of the Air America era, was one of our keynotes. Brian Wilson.
Brian Wilson
from the Beach Boys.
When Smile came out too. The cool. Brian Wilson Renaissance. Rev Run was one of the keynotes. And then at night, they do all these label showcases at venues in New York City. So like literally the first night I had ever been in New York City, I saw Sonic Youth in New York City.
Wow.
So that was amazing.
That is awesome.
As a complete aside, I just went to New York City between Christmas and New Year's for the first time.
Oh, yeah.
Went to a record store, and I picked up Thurston Moore's memoir, and they happen to have signed copies there. So that's, like, you're at, like, ground zero seeing Sonic Youth in New York. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Really cool.
That's amazing.
So does CMJ, it no longer exists?
No. They said at one point that, like, somebody was trying to bring it back, but it's just, like...
Wow.
It's like I heard about it, and then it's been a few years. I'm like, what's happening with CMJ? I would love to go back. There's something similar for the public radio community called Non-Com. It's in Philadelphia every year. Huh. It's the closest thing to CMJ. It's not exactly the same because it's all at one place, but I go to that every year now.
That's cool.
For work.
I had a question. You said when you got your own show. Now this is early on at Wright State, right? Uh-huh. You got your own show. Yeah. What were you playing? Like, can you remember
the first song that you
played?
Because you're like,
no. I wish I
got my own show. Like, this is how I'm coming out the gate.
So we would shadow a lot, and with it being college college radio, the first time I was ever running the board on my own, the person that was training me, who was the then GM, who everybody called Frog, was like, and this is like the most college radio thing. He was like teaching me everything, and then he was like, okay, I'm going out to smoke. Do your thing.
Oh,
I was
my
like,
gosh.
Sink or swim.
Wow.
It was terrifying, but I did it. And that's kind of how you have to do radio. Like, you have to just do it.
Yeah.
My first show, I think, was pretty, like, indie rock-y. We're talking, like, early 2000s. So, like, Postal Service and things like that coming to mind.
Yeah.
Like, Postal. This is, like, the height of, like, Postal Service, Iron and Wine, stuff like that.
Okay.
At one point, I did a late-night trip-hop show.
Cool.
That was really fun.
Wow.
And at one point, before I graduated, I did an all-local show.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
Very
Yeah.
cool.
So,
And you were already being prepped for that from your parents by
Totally.
going to the local venues and hanging out. And
yeah. I mean, so the interesting thing about that, I do have a story about this, about, like, me really lucking in with local music specifically, because I think when I was going to shows with my parents, we were always seeing, like, kind of national
touring bands.
acts.
Yeah.
So I definitely had a sense of, like, you go out and you see bands, but I didn't really have a concept of what was here yet.
Okay.
And I knew about the music scene in New Orleans in the 70s because of my mom, and my dad lived down there. That's how they met.
Such a weird, like, not weird, I guess, but I guess it's weird to be in Dayton, Ohio and know about the music scene in New Orleans in the 70s.
Totally. It is. And, like, so the interesting thing to that point, so many people I know that grew up around here have bluegrass in their history,
Yeah.
like grandpa and grandma or uncle plays a mandolin or a fiddle, and, like, bluegrass is the music of, like, your heritage. I have none of that. So I had to learn bluegrass much later. Like, I have none of that in my family history, but I have a bunch of stuff that most people around here don't, but that is more aligned with Ohio funk than with bluegrass. So I feel like I've had, like, this natural kind of affinity with Ohio funk, because when you look at, like, the Ohio players, you look at their peers who were the Meters, who became the Neville brothers, for example. So there's a through line there. It's just my reference points are different than a lot of my peers.
Yeah.
So local music. So yeah, we were seeing, like, national acts and things like that. And I feel like even, like, at Edge Fest, there were local acts, but I didn't fully conceptualize, like, these are people from here.
Sure.
For me, it was going to Canal Street on my own a couple of times. And I'll tell you the band that did it, obvious choice, and I love embarrassing these guys about this, it was Shrug.
Oh,
Yeah. And, like, it's so funny because those guys are, like, such dear friends. And, Todd was a DJ on YSO. I literally got an email from him yesterday.
Oh, nice.
And I love to embarrass him about this. I was like, dude, you guys are the reason why I do what I do in regards to local music, because really it was seeing them and, like, God, like, Todd is such a good songwriter. Yeah. Like, seeing somebody up there on the stage with the quality of, like, writing and music and be like, wait, these guys, like, live down the street?
Yeah.
You know? Like, these dudes are around. Oh my gosh. What? And so for me, that was such a gateway. Like, I always say, like, those guys are not just what got me into local music, but what instilled in me this idea that, like, local music is something worth celebrating, is something worth uplifting, and also, like, deserves to be alongside national artists, because that's a big thing with the way I program. So I did a local show in college, but I have been, like, really hesitant over the years. Like, I never made Kaleidoscope into an all local show, and people have asked me, like, oh, like, are you ever gonna, like, start a local show on YSO? And I'm like, I would never say never, but I also have a real hesitancy about doing that, because I feel like that's an easy way for people to reduce the music. Like, if local music is just on the local show, that can have this connotation about the quality or what you're going to hear. Whereas I think, and I'm all about like music discovery and exploration, that's our whole slogan for our new channel. When you hear like an artist you know and love, and then you hear an equally amazing song next to it, and you find out like, wait, I can go see these guys this weekend down the road, that's mind-blowing. That's amazing. And like that's how people should discover local music,
that's
in my opinion.
Really cool, actually.
I
I've
agree.
never thought about it like that, because there's been local shows and you're like, oh, and the quality can be like really low, which is fine. I mean, Gotta Buy Voices did a lot of lo-fi stuff, but the songwriting's amazing. But that is a very cool way to look at it. I really appreciate that, actually. I've never thought about that.
So what was the impetus, the thought of Kaleidoscope? Where did that come from?
And how long has it been going? And is it available through the website so that people can listen even if they're not in the Dayton area and can pick it up locally? Plug yourself.
Okay, so I host 2 shows on YSO.
There we go.
And on Novaphonic now. I have to keep remembering. We have our second channel, Novaphonic, which I can talk about here in a minute.
Please do, because I don't know anything about that.
That's been a whole other journey. It's very new. It's only 2 months old. Okay, Kaleidoscope. Let me start with the other show first, because that's the easier explanation. Algorithms is a show that I co-host. That is ambient, what we were calling back in the 90s new age music, but has evolved into like chill wave and things like that. So that show I grew up listening to on YSO. It started in like 1990, I believe. And
that would have been right when I started listening. I had a friend who got me into YSO in early 90s, and I've been listening ever since.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's really cool. Sorry, I had to jump in there.
No, I love that. Yeah. We used to listen to it every Sunday night at home. Like, again, my parents and I would listen to music together. We would listen to the radio together. That was like appointment listening for us.
You're describing something that anybody who's of a certain age has no context for. Sitting around with mom and dad, putting on the radio. It sounds like it's so long ago.
Yeah.
Although with Owen, it would be Sunday morning or Saturday morning. We'd have breakfast together. We'd put on YSO and listen. So Owen and Christine and I would sit around and listen to YSO. So I made him do that. So I don't know. He can thank me or hate me, but I made him do that. So. Sorry.
Oh, no. Algorithms. I grew up listening to it, and when I started volunteering at YSO. One of the many things I was doing, I was like learning to be fill-in host, and I did fill in on what was then called Excursions. We now call it Midday Music quite a few times. I was a backup host. And Jerry Kenny, who is still my colleague, who we joke that he's like my radio dad, who I listened to growing up. At the time, he was transitioning from being a then volunteer host to being a full-time staff member, and he was going to be hosting Morning Edition on NPR. Now, Algorithms goes Sunday till 11 o'clock at night, and Morning Edition, you have to be at the station at 5 to start it on a Monday morning. So he was starting to think about, like, how does he get a co-host or split up the show? And when it was discovered that I was a listener to that show, they were like, great, why don't you co-host with Jerry? So I started hosting that. I still co-host it. The best part about this is Jerry is back and we're co-hosts again. So for many years, he didn't do the show. I had another co-host. I did it solo for probably 10 years. And just last year, in fact, he has come back to the show. He's now hosting All Things Considered in the afternoons.
Oh, cool.
And we have enough sort of give in the wheel where he's got time to do at least an hour of the show every week. So yeah, we're back to being co-hosts again. So that's Algorithms. That's awesome. One thing.
And if you've never listened to Algorithms, do it. It's just amazing music. I love it. So.
It's the vibes. And the cool thing about that in particular is that I definitely thought at one point, and maybe it was about when I was taking the show over solo, I was like, is this music still relevant? And are people still making this music? Because there was a bit of a lull there. And the cool thing is, like, it has come back around in a big way. Like, people are making tons of, like, really, really great ambient music now. And the sounds have evolved and shifted. And there's, like, a very vibrant community of musicians. So cool. It's reinvigorated my love for the music. And it's really fun to take that really old stuff, like going back to, like, early synthesizer music too, like all the way up to stuff that's being made and like posted on Bandcamp right now. I was earlier today listening to some like previews of stuff that's coming out in March in that genre. Okay. So there's, cool. Fresh material all the time.
Very cool.
Yeah. And then Kaleidoscope, there's kind of a long, complicated thing with the history of WISO that we can talk about at some point if you guys want to.
Sure.
Well, I'll get back to this because that'll take us on a diversion that I could spend hours talking about. But at that particular time, in let's say this was circa 2006, 2007, they had the afternoon show Excursions, which we now call Midday Music. It's shifted times a couple of times. And then they were in this phase where they were bringing a lot of hosts back to the airwaves. And that's like the complicated part of the story, which gets into the whole history of the station and the history of public radio at the time. And I was part of that group of people that they were like, we want more volunteers back on the air. A few had made it through the sort of troubles, as we call them. Like Rev Cool, he hung on through the whole thing. Like, I joke that Rev Cool is like the cockroach that they couldn't kill. I say with love. I love the Rev so much. Algorithms made it through. Most other shows did not. But in the evenings, what they were doing is, as they were building out new shows, they were just calling them all evening excursions. So you had afternoon excursions and evening excursions. And very quickly, like, Monday nights became the jazz show, and Tuesday nights became something else, and Thursday nights had become something else. And Wednesday was the last evening excursions left. And a guy named Christopher Olvis, who I did college radio with, was hosting. He was getting ready to go back to school, and he needed a co-host at first. So we co-hosted for about a year and a half, and then he was like, I'm moving to Columbus to be a grown-up and get a grown-up job. The show is yours. And we had been talking about wanting to drop the evening excursions name. We're like, it needs its own thing. And it was kind of a bait and switch because he's like, the show is yours, and now you have the responsibility of naming it, which is hard. Yeah. But I finally landed on Kaleidoscope. And from the start, I said, well, I want to do indie rock new music, and I want to mix in local music. And maybe every once in a while, I'll have a local musician on to play live in the studio. I did it once and had people beating down my door. I was like, maybe I'll do this once a month. And now it's like every week. And sometimes I have two bands. And and that's been going on for 16 years.
Wow. Holy cow.
I
didn't realize it's been that long.
Yeah, 16 years as of like the first week of January.
Wow. Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations.
That coincided with me getting hired at the station. It was not planned that these two things would happen together. Okay. But I was getting ready to take over the show. I was working in publishing at the time. Again, recession. We're talking about 2009. Yeah. I was working for a local publisher that many people in the arts have worked for, and we all got an email at 5:00 the day before New Year's Eve that was like, bye, don't come back. We're no longer a company and you no longer have jobs.
Easy Pete.
And so I was kind of like, well, what do I do about that? So I knew I was taking over the show full time, and I had volunteered at WISO during the day in college because like Wright State and Yellow Springs are so close, I would just drive over there. Sure. So I emailed some of the staff members and I was like, hey, I know you guys have some events coming up. I'm going to be job hunting, but I want to stay busy. So I can come back in during the day and like stuff envelopes or just do whatever to help out while I'm looking for work. Like, I'm happy to do it. And they were like, actually, we have a part-time job available, but we also have some other needs that your skill set could fit. So why don't you come talk to us? So I got hired, very weird hybrid position, this was at the same time I got hired a couple of weeks before Nina Ellis came from DC. She had been hired. I had never met her, though, to become our general manager.
Oh, wow.
Now, Nina is an award-winning documentarian. She worked for NPR, long history in public radio, and she was moving here to be the general manager of WYSO. Wow. So I got to learn from her for the whole, as a mentor for the whole first part of my career. I was not music director until very, very recently. I was doing a lot of other things. I built our whole digital presence, which was really interesting because it was a period of time in radio where public radio stations were doing all this really important news, but it was just on the radio. So it would just float out into the ether. And the websites were all like, we are a radio station and this is our website. Here's how you listen to us on the radio. And that was it. And so I was part of this whole cohort of people that I still am in touch with, a lot of them, where we built a whole digital strategy for NPR member stations and built the platforms and things like that to create dynamic news sites and built the workflows and had to teach radio reporters how to do digital and social media and all this stuff. So that was the first half of my career was on the journalism end of it. I was still doing the music shows the whole time, but I was really doing all this digital journalism stuff. Wow. And then had an interest in programming because that's what I did in college, overall sound of a radio station. When we say programming in radio, we're talking the overall sound and feel of your station. And was starting to move in that direction. And then there was this pivotal moment for me, which was 2019. So for those that don't remember or don't know, 2019 was a horrible news year in Dayton, Ohio. We started off the year with a very, very horrible, contentious faculty strike at Wright State that had just people, faculty, staff, students, administrators at each other's throats.
It was ugly.
And it was very ugly.
Yeah.
So we were on the ground reporting about that, fielding all the angry phone calls, all of that. Then we had a Klan group march on Courthouse Square.
I forgot about that.
Which was horrible, and everyone was very scared because that was the Charlottesville riot had already happened, and so everyone was really scared there was going to be violence, protesters clashing. That happened. Nobody got hurt, but 2 days later, the Memorial Day tornadoes happened.
Oh, geez.
And then, just as we were recovering from that, the Oregon District mass shooting happened.
Which has not come up yet as we've been talking, because we've not got real current. But do you mind if we pause and talk about that for just a second? Because obviously being present on NPR there, I can remember, all of us played shows, booked shows. Oregon District, for anybody not from Dayton, that's come up, and we've talked about venues on 5th Street. It's a very, really, if you're in the city, it's just a really small couple of blocks that features bars, clubs, other places.
Yeah, TUE's down there, isn't it?
Local
isn't
businesses.
TUE was down there, I think.
Yeah,
there's a comedy club.
Anymore,
Right.
There used to be a comedy club down there, and anybody who went to shows, played shows, booked shows, spent any bit of time there and heard the news. I didn't hear it until the next morning because it happened late Saturday night, and it was Saturday night into Sunday. I remember waking up and seeing it and thinking, who did I know who was down there?
Yeah. That's it.
Immediately, I started thinking about man, this is really close to home. In a way that not to diminish anybody's experience or situation, but when something like that happens in a place where your feet have been, it's real in a whole different way.
I was doing markets with Twisted River in Springfield, and that next weekend, and all through my mind, I'm thinking, in Springfield Farmers Market is down an alleyway, and I'm thinking, what if somebody comes, because a lot of copycat stuff, and, I'm like, what do I do? How do I get out of here? How do I protect the people around me? I mean, just so your mind just starts flying. So that's how, like you said, if it happens somewhere else, it's sad and it's
you're heartbroken.
You're heartbroken.
You grieve for all the people who are grieving,
Yeah.
but
when it happens in your hometown,
in a place where you've spent tons of time, and everybody at this table has spent tons of time down there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, I was the weekend before. Like, had it been a week earlier, I would have been at Blind Bob's because I was there for a Screaming Females show. You know, they were touring and
basically across the street from where it happened.
Exactly. Yeah. So when that happened, I was still like on the news side, digital journalism side, really was working very, very closely with the person in charge of our newsroom. Like, the way I found out is I got a call at 4:00 in the morning from NPR saying,
oh my gosh,
hey, we're seeing that this is happening. What do you know? Do you guys have reporters on the ground? That kind of
from
thing.
like NPR.
Yes. Yeah. From
the mothership.
From Washington. Yes. Yeah. That's what we call it. We do call it that, actually.
The mothership.
Yeah. And the thing about something like that is so hard in local communities is so like, I remember how media from all over the place like descended on Fifth Street, and it was horrible, and it was disruptive, and like people were trying to grieve, and it was very invasive. But it also, like, I would see people just writing these scathing things about the media, whereas my team, and I know the team from the Dayton Daily News too, we're trying to simultaneously do right by our community and tell our stories, and also like grieve and process and be scared and feel all of the feelings. And so that year in news burnt me out completely.
Sure.
Oh, I bet.
I was just like, I can't.
Well, let's go back to December 2019 and tell Juliet it doesn't get any better. Sorry.
So that
time travel.
I, like so many people in Dayton, were like, 2019 sucked. 2020 has to be better.
It's gotta get better.
For about 2 months.
Insert the Price is Right trombone sound here.
Were you in marching band, Dan? That sounded pretty good.
Thanks.
That was good.
But I was a drummer.
Oh, okay.
You didn't do vocal horns?
They just had to go up to the mic and do fake stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds pretty good. Thanks.
Yeah.
So, 2020.
Yeah. And so I had kind of articulated at that point, like, hey, I need to get out of news. Like, I want to really just work in the programming realm, like doing overall sound stuff. And I was starting to do that. And then the opportunity arose in 2021. We had a vacancy. Our then music director left, and they asked me, like, would you want to step into that role and be music director? And I was like, yes. Of course I do. The wild thing about that is I never thought I would be able to do that here. I always thought I would have to go to another city, go to another market to be music director, but I never, I love this place. I chose to stay here after college. I didn't necessarily want
Say
to
that
leave.
again for the people in the back. I love this place.
I do. I really do.
That's a cool recurring theme that comes up with people we're talking about. It's so easy from the outside. I'm sorry to step on your story, but just what you're saying reminds me of other conversations we've already had. Like, say what you want about Dayton and it being a town that's had its ups and downs, and that, okay, it's not New York City, but it's pretty good.
It is.
And there's some really great things that have happened here, are happening here, and will continue to happen. And that's why, in some ways we started off in Dayton doing this podcast to highlight the people who feel the way that it sounds like you feel about this place.
Yeah.
Because we feel it too.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, Dayton's had its ups and downs. We continue to have our ups and downs. We are not perfect in any way, but there is something really special about this place. And there's also this, like, very unique, like, there's Midwestern grit, but then there's Dayton, Ohio
100%,
grit,
100%.
which is a whole other thing.
And we talked about that on the pilot episode, which is crazy.
Yeah,
it's got a grungy feel to it.
Yeah.
Before that was even a term, And
right.
It was here. Yeah.
So why, speaking about Dayton and how much you stayed here, you didn't think you were going to be able to stay here and be a music director. Why do you think, and we ask everyone that comes on this question, why do you think Dayton is this kind of hub for this music?
The creativity.
The creativity,
Yeah,
whether it's
sure.
art or music,
Yeah.
creativity in general, but...
Well, there are some historical economic factors that you can actually look to that sort of contributed to this. So when you look at the history of this area, we are this melting pot of white Appalachian folks who came here for work and brought their instruments and their music. Black folks who came up from the South, again, for work, who brought their music. All of these folks were able to make a really good living at one point. Were able to buy homes with basements and garages and put instruments in them, and their kids could form bands and start making music. So that is kind of like the science-y part of it, you know? Like, there's something very real there about that. But there's also, like, I think it's the fact that we are Midwestern to our core, and we don't tolerate pretension very well. Sometimes that's a flaw, because I have seen the kind of downside of that, which is sometimes we look down on bands that become successful because we think, oh, well, you guys are too good for us now, whatever. And I think we could do a better job. Like, when somebody makes it, like, their success should be all of our success, and we need to embrace that. I've seen bands over the years get scorned because they made it big, and it's like, no, like, that's a win for all of us, you know, and we really need to treat it as such. But the flip side of that is, I think there's an openness. There is a spirit of collaboration here that everybody in other cities is astonished by. Like, people come from other scenes and they're like, everybody works well together. I mean, there are personalities and this, that, and the other, but the fact that by and large people are invested in helping each other and not like competing with each other. The intermingling of sound is really interesting. We have done better and worse jobs of it over the years, but I think when you look at the scene now, and you can have shows where you have hip-hop artists and rock and rollers and more Americana acts all inhabiting the same space, playing the same venues, liking and appreciating each other's music, introducing each other to their audiences, like, that is very cool. That does not happen in every scene.
Very much so. So
that's,
I guess, we've started our first few episodes that haven't even come out yet. We're talking about a finite time, basically, you know, late 80s, early 90s, not really even getting into the 2000s, maybe a little bit. So we've been focusing on that. What do you think the Dayton music scene looks like now? What do you see? You know, we were talking about how, you know, we didn't have the internet to spread word about the shows. You know, we were handing out flyers. You know, we did the Dayton Music Fest, and even then,
started in 2005.
And I mean, we were just getting in. You know, Facebook was just MySpace. And, I mean, but now it's like a whole nother world, really, compared to where we were. But how do you feel that the Dayton scene music in general is thriving, surviving here in Dayton?
It's a really good moment right now. Like, I feel like we went through, you know, there are ebbs and flows in every scene. And I feel like we were definitely at a high point, I would say, like, right when y'all started the festival. Like, that was a moment for sure. Like, there were a lot of bands, like, really firing on all cylinders. And then as these things happen, people have babies and move and buy houses and change jobs, and, like, you know, life gets in the way a little bit, and then
life gets in the way of rock and roll.
That's right. Well, and then there's a new crop of young folks that have to find their footing, and I feel like right now there's this really cool energy happening. I've been saying a lot, we're having a moment in Dayton hip hop for sure. Like, that's so exciting to me. We have so many talented folks, especially of different generations, that are having interplay right now, that are doing amazing work, nodding back to our funk tradition. So I love that. That is worth celebrating.
We're going to have to get you to give us some suggestions.
I will give you lots of names.
We're trying to make playlists with every episode we have, and it would be great to highlight some of those artists you're kind of alluding to.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's that. There's the rock and roll scene, of course. There are a lot of great songwriters right now as well. If you look at like the lineups for the Battle of the Bands that's going on right now at the Bright Side, there are amazing people in all of these different pockets. There's also an amazing scene of young people right now, much younger than I am, that are forming their own scene and their own community and doing things a little differently in a way that is very, very exciting to me.
Cool. It's great.
Yeah, there's this festival called Art Parked. It happens in October, and it's all of these like young creatives, like 20-year-olds. It's a free fest in a parking lot. They incorporate art and music and dance into it, and like they're just doing it because they want to do it. And I went last year. I have become a big supporter of it. Like, I really just want to shed a light on that, because these, like, I call them kids, but they're young adults. But these kids are making stuff happen, and they didn't wait for somebody else to invite them in or, give them the magical permission. They were just like, no, we want to do this, and we want to do it in our way. And I love it. And they are doing such creative stuff, and the fusion of sounds is really interesting. So that's just like one example of what's happening right now.
Where is that?
Art Parked?
Yeah.
It happens in the Grafton Hill neighborhood every year in October.
Okay.
It's a parking lot kind of right adjacent to the Dayton Art Institute.
Oh, cool.
Cool.
I have some killer pictures from last year on WISO's website.
Awesome.
Yeah, we'll have to check that out.
Yeah, for sure.
Talk to us about, you said you just launched 2 months ago a new station.
Yes. My little radio baby. Novaphonic. aka novaphonic.fm. So the challenge of WISO is that we are a hybrid format, which is like old school public radio. Back in the day, even before NPR was a thing, you had all these stations that were college or community run, and you'd have a music show, and then a public affairs show, and then an interview show, and then another music show, like all day, every day, all night long. And as public radio changed and evolved and things grew up, a lot of stations got rid of their music. Yeah. Now, WISO never did that. It almost happened one time a couple of times, but it almost happened for real in the late 90s and early 2000s. There was a moment where it nearly happened. And this goes back to the, like, why this area is, like, magical or something, or maybe it's something in our aquifer. But people in other communities, like, there were other stations where something very similar happened, and it just happened. And people were sad about it, but it happened, and those stations are still news talk stations. Here, people acted out. Like, I have old videos, like really grainy old, like WDTN TV news footage. People,
from the early part of this century.
Yes. Yes, you have to crank it.
Like this.
Yeah. But people literally protesting outside WISO's building. They had a mock jazz funeral for jazz programming on WISO. They were demonstrating out in front of Dublin Pub in the Oregon District with signs saying, "Keep WISO local."
That's
wow.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
I don't remember any. I mean, I was around, but I don't remember it.
It was a thing. I've done a pretty deep dive into the history of it.
Yeah.
And so people were very, very upset, because they wanted music, they wanted their community, they wanted people from their neighborhood on the air.
They wanted the hybrid
hybrid thing. Yeah. So, like, when I started as a volunteer, we were just starting to heal from that, and we've come a long way, and we've gone through different phases where we've done different programming changes, where, we'll gain some hours of music or lose some hours. And I'm really happy with what we have on the air right now. But there are only 24 hours in a day, and there are only 7 days a week.
Yep.
And the news is important.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like it's important.
Yeah.
And I say that as somebody who was on the journalism side. I have massive respect for the work our reporters do and the work of NPR and all of that. So we're at this juncture right now where we're like, well, if we want to add something, we have to take something away.
Yeah.
And it's getting harder and harder to make those choices. But the other thing we started to see from our colleagues around the country is some stations who lost all their music have started new all music stations.
Huh.
And we were like, well, we lost NKU, we lost Voxy, we even lost 103.9. Not that their programming was that great toward the end, but now it's yet another commercial country station. Like the music picture in terms of local radio is narrowing and narrowing. We have WWSU, but they're a 10-watt station. That's my college station. We have WUDR, but they have a very small reach. They do great work, but you can't get them very far.
Yeah.
Meet Me in the City, sponsored by Twisted River Coffee Roaster. Twisted River offers an unpretentious approach to specialty coffee. Visit twistedrivercoffee.com and use promo code INTHECITY at checkout to receive a one-time discount of 10% off your entire order.
This episode of Meet Me in the City has been recorded at B&G Cigar Lounge, your home away from home, located in West Carrollton, Ohio. You can find them at 319 West Central Avenue. They have an ample humidor, all of the supplies you can need for your cigar smoking pleasure. We hope that you will stop by and support them as they are supporting us on this journey.
And so we started thinking about, like, could we do this? And how could we do this? And it has taken quite a few years. I've been music director since mid-2021, and it just launched in November. But we have launched what we're calling Novaphonic.fm, and it is on our HD2 channel. So if you have an HD radio in your car, a lot of stations will have a whatever -1 and a whatever -2, sometimes a -3, just like in television. We've always had the capability of doing that. We just had never done it. So we launched WYSO HD2. It's also a stream. It has its own app. And what it does is that it simulcasts all of our existing music programming. So if you're listening from 11 to 2 when Midday Music with Evan Miller is on, that's on both channels at the same time.
Okay.
World Cafe from NPR is on both channels at the same time. But at 4 o'clock on WYSO, you're going to news.
Yep.
Music time is over. It is news time.
Yep.
If you are a person who maybe you got your news in the morning, maybe you're just having a day where you can't, you know, maybe you've got your kiddos in the car and like, it's not a good time to be, you know, having an in-depth discussion with a 7-year-old about the Palestinian genocide, you know, like for whatever reason, if you choose not to engage with the news, rather than sending you off to an abysmal selection on a commercial station for music, or your Spotify, where artists aren't getting paid, billionaires are making a lot of money, you can go to us, and we'll have music there for you, curated by actual human people from this community. Local music, indie music, all the things you love about the music on WYSO. So that's what we're doing. It's brand new.
That's amazing.
It's a baby. We want to eventually get an FM signal for it. That will be several years off because we're about to move to a new building. So we gotta move to our new building first, and then we can start to look at FM signals.
Staying in Yellow Springs, though?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, our new home in Yellow Springs. Yeah.
Okay.
Because the thing about FM signals is you don't just like make one up.
Right.
You have to obtain one. I have one.
Kind of like a liquor license.
It is very much like a liquor license in Ohio. Yeah, you have to take one that is existing rather than create one from scratch. I have ones that I want because they're the right coverage map. I have my reasons. I won't say what they are. They live in my heart right now until I can make them reality. But it's a huge step for us. It also allows us to bring more local programmers to the airwaves.
That's awesome.
So I've been having conversations with several local people for about a year and a half now. Genres we're missing, people I want on the air, types of music that we should be presenting, that I literally have no airtime. I don't know where I would put them. I've got a whole new clock, a whole new calendar that I can put new shows on.
So
cool.
I think it's really awesome. Neat. Just a functional question about the Novaphonic. So you're simulcasting when you do have music shows on.
Yes.
The other times, so when it switches to news at 4:00 on YSO, what's generating the music then that's playing at 4:00? Do you have someone who's DJing that, for lack of a better?
So we don't
descriptor?
We don't have a live DJ for that.
Okay.
In our current building, we don't have 2 air studios.
Okay.
So we had to automate it, but it is a highly curated automation.
Okay, all right.
So although a computer is playing it,
okay.
Evan Miller, who's my assistant music director, who is like my true partner in this venture. I could not ask for a better person to work with on this. We curate it all ourselves, and right now it's the 2 of us that you'll hear in between the songs telling you about the music. We're hoping to grow some new DJs into that functionality.
If you're just
as
clicking
well.
into it, you're just thinking you're listening to the radio then.
Yes, and it is run by computers, but computers are not picking the music. Like we are using the computers mainly because right now we are 2 people and we do have to sleep.
Yeah, no doubt.
We do have to sleep sometimes and like eat and stuff. And we do both host live, at other points in the week. And hosting live, it is a very present activity.
Sure,
so like,
absolutely.
We couldn't do all of this without the help of computers, but literally every day, it was what I was doing before I drove over here. Is I was recording all of my breaks for tomorrow, for Saturday. So that's like one of the things I'm most excited about with Novaphonic is on YSO on Saturdays during most of the day, it's talk programming.
Yeah, right.
It's very good talk programming, but sometimes you're just like not in the mood for that, or like for me sometimes I'm in and out of my car so much.
Right.
I know, like, I'm not going to listen to the Moth Radio Hour because I'm going to miss half the story anyway. Like, I'll catch up with it at another time.
Or you can listen to Wait, Don't Tell Me later
Exactly.
Not a problem.
Yeah. Like, it's around. So Saturdays are all what we call, like, a music mix. So it's all, like, a curated playlist that we've curated. And so I was recording all of my little breaks for that. So, like, just hours and hours and hours of saying, like, that was this band, and that's from their new album. It's coming out in a couple of weeks, and coming up, we've got these guys, and hey, these guys are playing here, and check it out, that kind of a thing.
Very cool. That's
How
exciting.
has the response been?
Good, really good. It's so new that it's, we're still telling people about it, obviously.
Yes.
Like, it's brand new. One of my mentors has used the metaphor that when you launch a new station, you are literally having a child. And I didn't believe him the whole time we were getting ready for this. I was like, sure, you say that. That's cute. Like, I get where you're going to prepare me for this. No, like the first week it launched, I was like, I'm getting no sleep. I'm checking to make sure it's breathing every 5 minutes. I'm exhausted. I can't think. So our joke in our staff meeting is like, little baby Novaphonic is sleeping through the night now. So that's good.
That's great.
Yeah.
Isn't he cute?
Yeah, it's so cute.
One of the things that talking about Kaleidoscope, and it sounds like even with Novaphonic, and you mentioned the idea of discovery.
Yes.
It's almost like an old school way of listening to music that we all, because again, we're of a certain age. Yeah. You couldn't just, put on Spotify or YouTube or whatever you use and listen to whatever you want at any given moment. You were kind of at the mercy of whatever radio station you could pick up, or maybe you had MTV and You could, find the late night shows that had new stuff coming on. But it's such a cool thing for people to be able to turn on and hear, Fleetwood Mac one minute, and then the next minute you hear a band from Dayton.
Absolutely.
Yes. And that's what we were talking about with some of our other guests, too, is like you would go to a show to see one band.
Yeah.
But there would be another band you didn't know anything about, and you'd fall in love with them, and then you start following them. So that lends itself to discovering those new bands.
Discovery is amazing.
It is.
And I think we forget about curators, like the value of curators, too. Like the Spotify algorithm has fooled us into thinking that a computer can do what a human can do. But like, I had the privilege working in a record store, getting to hand people stuff. Like, I would have people come in all the time, like, I don't like new music. There's no good new music. Yeah. I'm like, wait, what do you, but like, okay, who do you like? Who are your bands? Okay, you like this guy. Try this, Yeah. And I had those experiences too. Like, I can't tell you how many times Craig Houston at Gem City Music would come in and I wouldn't even get to the shelves because he'd be like, I pulled this stack for you. These are all like, Craig cost me so much money, but he knew what I liked and I could rely on him. And it's the same thing with a good DJ on the radio. Like, if you build that trust with somebody, that rapport, and it is a relationship, my hope is that people listen to WISO or to Novaphonic, and people have these relationships not just with me and Evan, but with our hosts, with Rev Cool, with Cindy Funk, with whomever, and they're going to trust that, like, I'm going to play you something that I care about. Like, I'm not going to play you something that I'm not excited about. I'm going to choose this next song because I think it's worth hearing,
Evan Miller's the reason I found Wet Leg.
Oh, yeah.
I love it. Man, it was because of Evan Miller. My mother-in-law, because since we started doing this podcast, my mother-in-law told my wife, she's like, that band that they were talking about, I heard them on WISO. And I'm like, yeah, that's what this is about, man.
Yeah.
So even my mature mother-in-law is finding, I don't want to say elderly, because she might listen to this. So.
Wet Leg has become a very special band in my family. My dad passed about 2 years, almost exactly 2 years ago. Thank you. Wet Leg was one of his last favorite bands.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Cool.
And
he's got good taste.
Yeah. And so that, in Chaise Long, the excuse me what thing, he and my mom would do that all the time at home to each other. So that's like a very, so now my mom and I will text that to each other. Sometimes that's like a very special thing for us.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Nice.
I think we want to leave a little bit of time as well to talk about your podcast, which, getting ready for this, I discovered, full disclosure.
Cool.
And shared it with all of us.
Yeah, which was fun. I listened to an episode today on my way down to get ready.
Sprinkle's a big horror movie fan, so he's...
Excellent. My people.
I'm not, but I listened to an episode anyway. I have some things to say about the episode I listened to, but we'll save that for a second.
Yeah. I'm so curious which one you listened to.
I'll give explanation. But you've been around the scene. You're championing local music, interspersed with your own things that you like and want to highlight and push forward. Do you have any moments? We've talked about highs in the Dayton music scene. Do you have any moments over the last 20 years or so that you just, not for better or worse, the moment that I found out about what had happened in the Oregon district is etched in my brain. I have moments like that with music, though. I can remember the Music Fest the first year when we had all the bands converge down at the end of the night when Swearing at Motors was going to start. The energy and feeling from that night. Do you have moments like that from being in and around the music scene, or just highlights or things that you just fondly remember?
I have so many.
Yeah, anything.
Gosh. There are specific moments. There are also like so many moments that I can remember standing in Canal Street and Elbows and Blind Bob's and Yellow Cab and any of our local venues where you're just like, you're locked in. Yeah. And like everybody's there and you're present, and it's almost sacred, where it's like there's just, you can almost reach out and touch the energy. And it's like, it's not just the interplay between artist and performer, but it's like being there, like arm to arm with people with perfect strangers, but you're all like there together. Like there are so many moments like that. I will never forget the last night of Canal Street Tavern proper. Shrug closed out that night. I was working at Jilly's, and the thing a lot of people don't know is that although they were running not really rival clubs, but the two biggest clubs in town, Jerry Gelati and Mick Montgomery had a huge respect for one another. Okay. Like they were very different personalities. Very different. And Jerry Gelati, I have such love for him and his whole family. They really became like family to me working there for so long. But Jerry knew that Mick was giving up the club and was sad about it, because I think he knew that one day he would have to make a choice like that too. And we had a show, but he knew, like, I needed to be at the last night of Canal Street Tavern. Like, that was very important to me. So he made sure that I got out of there to go see Shrug's set, awesome. And the other thing people don't know about Jerry Gelati is that although he was the jazz guy, he cared so much about a lot of the local musicians, like the people that got to play at his club. He would constantly ask me, how's this person doing? How's this band doing? How are they? What's going on with them? He genuinely, like, cared so much in a way that I think his gruff personality didn't always let people know. So Jerry let me go early. I raced over to Canal Street, got to see the last little set, and I just remember Todd singing, I think they closed the night with Benediction, and just like crying with everyone, just standing there arm in arm, like hugging like Harold Hensley and David Payne, and we're all just like sobbing. But it was beautiful. It was such a beautiful moment, you know? Ugh, yeah.
Wow.
Well, and it's this, I mean, Jilly's, of course, has a long history too, but I think for people who played music in Dayton, touring bands for sure, but just the local bands who got to play that stage and play in that room, see shows in that room, there's definitely something special about it. And it's really cool that you were there for the very final moments of it all. Yeah,
final moments of Canal. And then, we closed up Jilly's. I was like the last bartender.
What year did that close?
17, right at the end of 17.
Oh,
jeez, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Time, man. Time is. Whew.
Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah, we did a champagne toast at the end of the night and closed it down. And it's hard because that space is still empty.
Yeah.
Like Canal, I know people have really mixed feelings about the deli being there. I kind of love it. I kind of love that it's not a music venue because it would never be the same.
Yeah, right. That's right.
That's true.
I love that the space, that what's in there now is a local business that can be a different kind of gathering space, but nods to the history. I can go in there and I know, I see things, I spot things.
Well, they've left things in there very intentionally that you walk in and any of us.
The stickers on the posts of the bands, the walls from the green room that every band signed. And that's amazing.
It's great that they've kept that alive.
It's sad that Jilly's is.
The city of Dayton owns that building.
They do.
So it's their move to make at this point.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
It feels like, there aren't. You have Blind Bob's. You have Yellow Cab. You have Brightside.
Elbow's closed. Elbow's right there.
Yeah. The city also owns that building.
Do they really?
I don't know if anything's in that space.
There is not. No. Wow. I follow that very, very closely for reasons. But then we also have like new spaces. Like we have the Brightside now. And that team over there is really doing the work. And it is hard to run a venue. Like I really...
It's hard to run a venue. It's hard to book shows. It's hard to promote shows. It's hard. All of it's hard work.
Yeah. And Levitt Pavilion Dayton, they're doing wonderful work.
I still haven't been to a show there, but every year I look at the lineup. I'm like, I got to get down to this or this.
Yeah.
I just haven't made it.
And they're being very intentional about incorporating local musicians into what they do.
And genre, they're across all genres too.
Yeah.
So if you like funk, you got some options to go see funk. If you want to see a local, indie band, they got that too. They're doing a great job.
So we're gonna go see Kelly.
No, Kim.
Kim.
Yeah.
Sorry.
She might be there, but we don't know.
Well,
I'm sure she will.
Yeah.
She played on the record.
So your interview.
Yeah.
How was that?
It was amazing.
Was it?
It was amazing.
For me, that would have to be
We're going
like
to see
a
Kim
highlight.
Deal.
Kim Deal, sorry.
He released a solo record.
I've been trying to get Kelly to come on the podcast. That's why that was.
I've interviewed Kelly a few times.
Yeah.
Dayton music legend and played in the Pixies and Breeders. And if you're listening to this, you probably already know all that.
Yeah.
But just for the sake of throwing it out there, so Juliet, you got to
I did.
interview Kim.
Yeah.
Post like right after the record or as the record was being released.
Yeah, right after the record was released. They hadn't officially announced the Bright Side show yet, but she mentioned it in the interview, and I hadn't aired it yet. I was editing it. And then Libby from the Bright Side called me and was like, "Hey, we're getting ready to announce this show." And I was like, "Well, hey, I just interviewed Kim. Let's put it out and make this your show announcement." So that worked out beautifully timing-wise.
Awesome.
I didn't know if I was going to get that interview. I've interviewed Kelly quite a few times in the context of her band R Ring, and I love interviewing her. We always have a blast when she's on. I've wanted to interview Kim for a long time. Didn't know if it was possible. Didn't have a good sense of kind of where she was in terms of like her engagement, like with the station, like how aware she was of like the music we play, things like that. But what a lot of people don't know is we actually got to work with the label on the album announcement.
Oh, wow.
So we got to do some things on social media before the official press releases went out about the album. Oh. So that was sort of the first in, and the fact that we were asked if we wanted to do that was a really positive sign to me, and I was really...
You're thinking... Oh, we got it now, baby.
I wasn't even thinking that, but I was just okay, good. Like, we're being recognized as like this community's music station, and that's important to me. Like, that's really,
absolutely.
really.
And
important.
I'm glad you said that like explicitly, because I think a lot of people feel that way. And I wonder, not just to put a pause there, but one of the questions I wanted to ask was, and then we can get back to Kim. Yellow Springs is its own little thing.
Yeah, it is.
So I wondered, are they okay with Dayton claiming YSO as the...
Of course.
Okay, all right.
Yes. Yeah, and that is a tricky part of YSO, and that is a difference between us and a lot of our peers and colleagues in other cities.
Yeah.
You
guys are on an island almost unto yourself. Sort of.
We are, but being in the Midwest too, like, a lot of these stations, they can claim there's one big city and that's the city. And even if you live in the suburbs, like that's the city.
Yeah.
We serve 14 counties, including Dayton, Yellow Springs, Springfield, and Cincinnati.
Oh.
So like I had to, when we were talking about Novaphonic, I had to be very careful about Evan and I have had a long conversation about what is local music to us?
Yeah.
How far do the boundaries go?
Yeah.
Who do we call local? How do we treat that?
That's great. It's great.
But also with Novaphonic, oh my gosh, naming a radio station is hard. Naming things is hard. You take nothing away from this. Naming things are hard. It took us months to come up with the name of the station and the slogan, which is Explore Music Together. And as part of that naming, it was like, a lot of these other stations, well, number one, we didn't have call letters. So we can't just be WYSO HD2, because then we're WYSO HD2. A lot of stations are very place-based in their name. Like the SoCal Sound, which is a Southern California public radio music station. I'm like, what in the heck could I even call this region? We've got urban, we've got rural, we've got everything in between. Yep. We're based in a tiny, tiny village, surrounded by cornfields. Like, how do you talk about regionality in this context? So that is, it's hard, and so we're very cognizant that Yellow Springs is our home. We were founded as part of Antioch College. We're not a part of the college anymore, but we honor that history. The sort of, I would say, Antioch ideals are a part of our DNA in a very intentional way and in a way that I'm really proud of, But also, we are not a tiny little station at a tiny little liberal arts college in a tiny little village in Ohio anymore. We are responsible for and privileged to serve 14 counties worth of people, and we have online broadcasts.
Yep.
So we get to also serve our people who have moved away, or our people who are away, or anybody who chooses to engage with us. So it's tricky to think about, like, how do we mesh all that together and do it in a way that makes sense when you say it on the radio? Because concise brevity is key.
Yeah.
I can't be like, serving 14 counties in Southwest Ohio.
Well, whatever you're doing, you're serving enough to end up landing an interview with Kim Deal. So,
I have to say, listening to that interview, I could tell that Kim was a little bit guarded.
Yeah.
She was.
And then you said something to her, and she just opens up. And to me, that is the miracle of being a good broadcaster, is you
interviewer.
A good interviewer, broadcaster. I could tell the minute that you said something to her, and she just came alive. And to me, I'm like, that's awesome.
Thank you.
That is cool.
So I am very lucky that lately I've gotten to interview some bigger folks, and I understand often the restraints they're under. Sometimes I'm getting people on tour in between sound, like I'm standing between like them and like post sound check snacks or their pre-show ritual or whatever.
Or you're the third or fourth person they've talked to in the last hour.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, I gotta do this again.
I'm also very cognizant of the fact that, like, musicians are people too. Right. And I think if we can approach conversations like people, I always try to approach an interview like, hey, I'm interviewing you, but we are two people and we're going to try to forge a connection here, even if we're like on Zoom or you're on your iPhone backstage or whatever. So there's a lot of intention there. With the Kim interview, very specifically, I wanted to be very cognizant and respectful of the fact that I have interviewed Kelly several times, and we do have like a really good rapport on the air, but they are not the same person, and I can't approach it like that. And like, just because she is from Dayton, and just because I've interviewed her twin sister, I don't know her. I'm meeting her for like literally the first time. Right. So, and I also knew I didn't have a lot of time. So I really wanted to be well prepared for that conversation. And she was very, very gracious with her time and with the conversation. And I hope I have the opportunity to interview her again, because I had a lot of fun with that conversation. And had we had more time, like, I have other things I want to talk to her about. Right. I'm doing a podcast for WISO right now. We're in production for the second half of it about women's music in this area. The episodes we've released so far take us up to about the 80s, and we're working on the modern era stuff right now. And Kim has made a lot of comments about what it was like to be a woman musician in Dayton, Ohio in the 90s, and I would love to talk to her about that. I can't do that in a 10-minute Zoom interview. I have to have way more time.
And that's something that we've been cognizant of, too, is that, we obviously being men in the music scene, we want to know what that was like, or what it is like to be a female in this male-dominated, misogynistic environment. So I definitely want to hear that. But anything you can help us out with would be great on that front. So. Yeah,
and a band we came up with was Real Lulu.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So we knew them and played with them, and they were awesome. I mean, and that we'd love to talk with them and get their perspective on
what
it was like to be all these guy bands, literally.
At a time where, there was a lot of stuff popping off. I want to leave the end part to talk a little bit about your podcast, and then for you to promo anything else you want to tell us about. We've hit a lot of it, I think, but only because you confessed your love for Fleetwood Mac, and I think you mentioned seeing Stevie Nicks.
Oh, I've seen her many, many times.
So if I throw some trivia out, just one question
Lord. Okay.
on a solo Stevie Nicks record.
Okay, bring it. What you got?
Who did she do? And this is because the person she did a duet with is one of my favorites that Dan and his son Owen love to make fun of me for, but I will defend to no end.
I know who this is already.
Great song. Absolutely stuck in a moment in time. The production is what it is. Her voice is there. His voice is there. They sound great together.
Is this whenever I call you friend?
No. Nope.
Okay, which is the best karaoke duet ever.
It's her album, The Other Side of the Mirror. Who did she do a duet with?
Oh, shoot.
Who was also... had just recently made a huge name for himself in the last 2-3 years. And so I imagine the record execs were like, oh, we want you to do a duet with this guy because he's just been like, I don't know.
I don't even know that song. And I
don't either,
Best new artist.
Was it Bruce Hornsby?
It was Bruce Hornsby.
Ding, 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 ding.
I didn't even know the song, and I knew he was.
She's duetted with Bruce Hornsby, Tom Petty several times.
Yes,
Don Henley, Kenny Loggins.
They're all basically kind of in that same. The guys at least.
Bruce isn't. But.
Well, I mean, Don Henley and all those guys are kind of settle down.
That's the way it is.
Yeah, that's the way it is. Oh, a little mandolin rain is all I need.
Well, you've made my evening by being able to pull that. And as soon as you said something about being a super fan, I was like, oh, I've got to ask her.
Yeah.
Does she know?
Oh, usually people want my rant about, like, the Tusk album. They're like, okay, so is it Rumors or is it Tusk? And I'm like, here we go.
So no one's asked you about Bruce Hornsby's duet with Stevie Nicks?
Wow, that's shocking.
That's the first time.
If you need someone on Novaphonic to host an all Bruce Hornsby show.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Wow.
Noted.
So there'll be 3 listeners.
No, it just shuts down.
My mom, my dad, and both my brothers would listen. Okay, that's 4. Maybe my kids and wife. Maybe.
Oh
boy. All right,
How many times do I have to hear that's the way it is?
Gosh, you just go to the grocery store to hear that song. Love you, Bruce. If not that you're listening, but all right. So let's close with talking a little bit about your podcast, because that's not the newest thing that you're doing, but it's another thing. It's not really music, but there is probably music. There's, at least in the episode that I listened to, there was music conversation that came up. Tell us about it. Give us
tell
name
us the name,
podcast, what it is. Yeah, give us the whole thing.
Yeah. So in my non-YSO life, I have to kind of delineate that because this is not a YSO podcast. I do a podcast called Attack of the Final Girls. It's a horror review podcast. That came out of, it came out of several things. My partner is a horror filmmaker and a comic book maker. He is from the area and had a lot of success in the late 90s and early 2000s with like shot on video indie horror. He hasn't made a film in a few years. He's getting back into it, which I'm really excited about. He's got his own like amazing creative life. But
are you allowed to drop his name or?
Yeah, it's Matthew Brassfield.
Okay.
His comic book company is Bloodscream Comics, which I'm involved in as well. We do horror film comics and things like that. And his movies, a lot of people know him for his movie Werewolf of Ohio. That one had some success on VHS back in the day.
VHS?
Yeah.
Back in the last century.
Yeah. But he's shooting new stuff right now, so he should have some movie news soon. Cool. But he is a horror filmmaker. We watch a lot of horror films. Okay. I am a fan. I went to film school. I started in film school.
Yeah.
And what I loved about film school was really like diving into like the artistry of film.
Sure.
Like making films was never going to be my thing, but like really looking at like what are all the elements that have to come together to make this piece of art, and what are movies trying to tell us? And I got really into like the German Expressionists, which are sort of like the progenitors of horror films, Cabinet of Dr. Caligari.
Producer
and things
Sprinkle
like that.
has just come alive in the background. Whatever you just said, I don't know it, but he's excited about it. So there's at least 2 people in the room right now.
Excellent. But yeah, I when I left film school, I didn't do a lot with like the stuff I learned there. I always enjoyed it, and like my partner and I would talk film all the time. One of my other best friends, Teresa, my co-host, our partners are cousins.
Weird.
And so
like
we're like family. Yeah, we're all family, and we all go to movies together all the time. All the time. Like we are at the movie theater a ridiculous amount of time.
Fun place to be.
Because just like going to shows is like the real and best way to experience music, like being there in person.
Yes.
Like going to the cinema is the best way to experience a movie. Yeah. So we spend a lot of time there. And so Teresa and I talk about movies all the time. And the thing we found in the horror genre very specifically is that a lot of times we would read reviews or conversation or discourse online, and it was all dudes all the time. It was all dudes. And we were seeing things and experiencing things from our perspective a little differently.
Sure.
And so at some point during the pandemic, she was like, we should start a podcast because like we're literally having these conversations already. Why don't we just
that sounds familiar.
Right?
Yeah, sounds very familiar.
Yeah. So we launched in November of 2021. This thing has been going for quite a while now. Wow. And
you're giving us little guys hope that we're gonna make it years down the road.
Consistency. The nice thing for us is that kind of like you guys do, like we're both very busy. We both have full-time jobs.
Yep.
It's an excuse for us to get together and hang out, on a regular basis, to be very intentional. Like, hey, we're going to get together and watch a movie and talk about it.
I wondered about that when the episode I listened to today. I was like, do they do this every single episode and get together and watch the movie and then talk about it?
Yeah.
Man,
there was
great.
One time that we had to do it over Zoom. I think it was the one time I got COVID, and so we had to watch the movie separately, and then we did the podcast over Zoom, and we were both just like, I don't like this. It's more fun for us to be in the room together, because also a lot of the themes that we're talking about in the episode are things that we're commenting on out loud. Sure. Like, oh, did you see that? Oh, that was weird, or why did he do that? The podcast is very intentionally, we called it Attack of the Final Girls, because we wanted to emphasize that we are 2 women talking about horror films, and we wanted to really bring an intersectional feminist perspective to film. So, sometimes
Sprinkle again over here, just gesturing.
Yeah. So we like to. We like to do the classics. We also like to be intentional about highlighting, women directors, directors of color, films that have something to say about identity. But again, sometimes we just like to have fun and do campy stuff too.
Sure. But
we've been doing it for a long time. It's a lot of fun. It takes a lot of time, as you guys know.
Yeah. Is it a passion project, you think, for the 2 of you?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a passion project. We're very lucky, and we don't exploit this probably as much as we should, that because of my partner's connections and because of the comic book company, that we're adjacent to a lot of industry people.
Yeah. We
haven't done a lot in terms of guest hosts, in part because it is a passion project, and a lot of times it's just easier for us to get together on a Saturday morning and watch a movie and record an episode. But we might grow it eventually. But she's been doing a lot of big job and life things. I've been launching a radio station, so right now it's what, we're just going to maintain. And honestly, the consistency is good. The more back catalog, the more movies we can cover, the more eras we can get to. That's great. And then when we're ready to leap to a new step, we'll do it.
Yeah. Very cool.
So I'm full disclosure, I'm not a horror guy.
Yeah, that's okay.
As a sort of life ethos, I don't enjoy paying people to scare me.
Sure. Yeah.
Whether it's on film or in real life.
I get it.
So for those of us out there who are I don't know, give us like 2 or 3 classic horror films that you would suggest to someone who's not really into the genre.
Sure.
Sprinkle's probably like ready to yell some out from the background. And then maybe a couple more modern ones that you think would be interesting for us to check out.
Okay.
And you don't have to like go super deep on any of them, but I just don't know anything about the genre. So
sure. I think horror is best viewed when you think of it like, sure, like a lot of movies are there just to scare you, but a lot of horror films are actually not there to scare us so much as they are to reflect our fears and anxieties as a society. So when you place them in like the time and place that they're in, they become very interesting. Yeah. So see,
I'm more interested now. Yeah. By just saying that, I'm more interested.
Yeah. Okay. So one recommendation I would say is Dracula's Daughter, which is a Universal film that was made in the 30s. It is the sequel to the Bela Lugosi Dracula. It is a queer story at its heart. It is a lesbian story at its heart. It never says that explicitly because they couldn't do that in 1932, I believe it was. But it is a story about queer identity, about do you reckon with who you are or do you try to have somebody help fix you, air quotes, like how does that work? How do you move about the world when you aren't even comfortable with who you are? So that's one. Another one I would say is the original Nosferatu. Nosferatu's all the rage right now. So watch the original. Really look at what it has to say about disease, about society, about outsiders in regard to society. See what it has to say about women and yearning and longing and men and yearning and longing. It's a silent film. It's beautiful. It's got that beautiful German expressionism happening, high key lighting, lots of shadows.
Sprinkle's over here nodding like he's listening to hip hop or something. Just bobbing his head like, yes, say more.
Yeah.
All right, Dracula's Daughter, Nosferatu. Which wasn't there like a redo of that or something?
There's a new Nosferatu that just came out on Christmas. Robert Eggers did it. It is also excellent, but it is different. All right. Different but excellent. See the original first.
Okay, hit us with one more.
One more old one,
or whatever you want.
One more. Oh, what am I going to choose for you? All right. Phantom of the Paradise. Brian De Palma. It's a musical. It is wild. It is a contemporary of Rocky Horror Picture Show. They were shot almost at exactly the same time on parallel tracks.
Very interesting.
But they are different and diverging movies. It is a story about the music industry. It is a thinly veiled reference to Phil Spector. Extremely thinly veiled reference to Phil Spector.
It's Bill Rector.
Yes.
His name sounds like someone I've heard of.
Yeah. The music is great. It's campy. It's fun. But it also has a lot to say about the music industry and how we exploit artists and songwriters and chew people up and spit them out for the profit of others.
Wow.
All right, I'll say my final thing about the podcast I listen to. So confessing that I'm not a horror guy, I scrolled down starting with the newest until I found a movie I'd actually seen.
Okay, what movie?
Which was Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, and I can get into that.
And that's hilarious because I don't like that movie.
Exactly. And I was going to say, I'm pretty sure I know Dan's on for that one, and I didn't know Sean was. And Sprinkle's a no, of course. Well, we're done here. Sprinkle has heard everything that he needs to hear already, and so I do like Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah,
but again, it doesn't. It feels. I know it's like comedy.
Yeah,
kill a few zombies.
Sure, I appreciate it, and that was a very funny episode because Teresa loves it and I don't, and it's rare that we are that divergent on a film.
Okay.
Yeah. Usually, like there are some that like one of us likes more than the other, but that one.
So it's like you're Bruce Hornsby then.
Kind of, yes. Yeah, that one I appreciate. I appreciate the value of it, and I can see why people like it. It's just not for me.
Yeah.
What about Dale and Tucker?
I like Dale and Tucker. Surprised me.
I love that movie.
So the other,
I love funny kind of horror.
Okay.
You know, Red Dead. Is that
yeah.
right? Yeah.
Now, Young Frankenstein is my jam.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
like-
You
awesome.
talked about that in
yeah.
that Shaun of the Dead episode, I think you
I
mentioned
did.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the
I have to go
standard
back and watch
which
that one,
I
yeah.
hold all things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I think we should probably get off on a tangent here for a while. If we're going to do some music, film-related things, and then if we gave Sprinkle a microphone, I think...
Man, we would be here.
There
It'd
you
be a
go.
whole nother podcast.
Right.
Guys, do you have any other questions, comments for Juliet?
Just thank you
Yeah,
for all you
thank
do
you.
Yeah,
for the
right.
scene.
So cool.
The music scene, the art scene. Man, we need you.
Yeah, we do. Well, and as we talked earlier, the discovery. I think that
So cool.
has to happen.
So great.
Yeah.
And because you guys are championing that in this area, we all need that. And
Yeah.
so thank you for doing
Yeah.
that. And thank you for coming and talking
Yeah.
to us.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Thank you, guys.
you know, we've been very lucky and fortunate in that putting down a group of people who we wanted to talk to. One, that they said yes, but then as soon as we get to the table, we're like, oh yes, this is why. This is exactly why we wanted to talk with this person, because they're going to give us an angle
Yeah.
that we haven't heard, and you absolutely have done that.
Yes.
So, is there anything you want to plug? We've talked about a lot of stuff you're involved with. Obviously, WYSO 91.3. You can find them everywhere. What else would you like to plug on the way out?
Definitely check out Novaphonic if you
Yeah.
haven't already. It's novaphonic.fm. Our app is in both of the app stores, and it's a great way to listen and engage with some other content as well. And then the only other thing I want to plug is go to a show in your
Yeah.
community.
Yeah.
Like, go out, see live music, and support artists, and like buy artist merch. Because that is how you're supporting artists. Spotify's not going to do it for
Right.
you.
Yeah.
Amen.
Juliet, thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to before we even started recording, we said it feels weird because we feel like we know you because we hear your voice on the radio side,
Right.
but it's our first time to get to talk with you like
Yeah.
this, and hopefully we'll circle back around sometime and have you on again.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
is super
Awesome.
fun, you guys.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Juliet.
Thank you.
Yeah.
If you want to start again, if you want to start again.